Hey everybody, it's Bust with Busted Strategies number 58, jumping into another Crimson Vow draft. As the draft loads up, did want to say, here on the November the 19th, we will be streaming. We usually are just streaming regularly on Saturdays and Sundays now from 9 to noon Central, but on Friday I did take the day off of work for the release of Crimson Vow, and I mean, I'm an engineer by trade, but I'm no marketing genius. I feel like you would like to advertise the day that you're actually going to put stuff for sale. If people are going to come out here and buy your product, you probably want to tell them, hey, you can buy this on this day. Fucking blows my mind that Wizards doesn't tell you when the cards actually go on sale. They say the release date is November the 19th, but apparently there's things like pre-releases and releasing this online, which you just don't tell people about, which, not really surprised in terms of what Wizards does, but it was a little off in terms of the plans I was trying to make. But nonetheless, long story short, rant over. We'll be drafting as well on Friday, probably starting around like 10 o'clock Central. But okay, back to the action and back to the pack here. There's no bomb rare, which is always pretty unfortunate in this format. And with this one, I'm just kind of looking at the Abrade. You have your choice between either Abrade or Grizzly Ritual. And I think if you're going to try and land in like green X, that you'd probably rather be looking towards the Abrade than the Ritual. But there is a world where we do get to come in and just like table this Ancient Lumberknot. And if we don't table the Lumberknot, there is a world where we get to say, table this Heron of Hope in white-black. And so I think Abrade is a little bit stronger than the Grizzly Ritual, but I think the tabling potential is much higher with the Ritual and what we could potentially hit later on. Okay, just nothing good in terms of black cards here. Kind of sad. Sad noises are what we should be making. And so the cards I'm kind of interested in, there's the Wolf Strike, which isn't ridiculous, but it is a removal spell. I'm kind of okay with green-black. I think green kind of is nice in this format because it's so bomb-heavy that you tend to be able to be like, well, we're starting out, say, green-black, and then you maybe pick up a way or two to tap for any color of mana, and then we open a random like white bomb in pack 2, then it's very easy just to switch into. But with this pack, I think I'm just looking at the Wolf Strike. If things kind of like go according to plan, we might like wheel that green-black 1/4 and then wheel the mulch out of this one. I don't think that that's going to happen too frequently, but I'm pretty okay to just be like diving into green, especially when it's with the removal spell. Okay, so not interested in Cartographer's Survey. I don't really like Spiked Ripsaw either. I've been seeing a lot of people play Spiked Ripsaw, and I just think it's trash. But as far as these other cards go, not really interested in Piercing Light. I'm just looking over towards the Digraph Scavenger now. This guy does a little bit of everything, and that all adds up to a lot. The Death Touch lets him trade up. The Drain ability is surprisingly relevant, especially if you're playing a white-based deck that needs the life gain effects. It's a zombie for some of the blue-black things, exiles stuff away, so your opponent's raised deads aren't as good. It just he does it all, and I think that's our best one out of this pack. Pairs up with the Grizzly Ritual kind of nicely. Okay. So here, well, feels like the black cards are at least open. A lot of black happening here. I'm leaning again here towards the Undead Butler. There is a Gift of the Fangs. Removal spells are always good, but you run into like vampires somewhat frequently, whereas this is just kind of dead. But it's tough to be passing on removal, though. I think this is where we want to be with the Gift of the Fangs. I've surprisingly seen Undead Butler roll around 14th pick, and it just is mind blowing to me. I think he is pretty. He's not like out of this world strong, but he's definitely way better than 14th pick bad. Not a bad start. Not a bad start. The only downside here is we didn't open any ridiculous bombs. It's just so many in this format. Wish we would have picked up some of that big raw power. Okay, so interesting in catapult fodder. I mean, it works with the things we've picked up to this point, right? Digraph Scavenger's pretty happy with it. There's if you're in green-black, there's just a bunch of dudes that have the higher toughness, and the rest of these cards are pretty weak. I mean, Sporeback Wolf is not what we're trying to do. Specimen's garbage. So I think we're in on the fodder. And so we'll see if we completely high roll this and have the green-black card wheel. That would be pretty impressive. I'd be pretty happy with that. And so with this, like, I want to feel like the Sawblade Stinger is just garbage, but I have gotten like worked over by this thing just so many times that I have a tough time to want to pass it. Like it just seems like every time this comes down on board for our opponents, it's just been completely ridiculous. And so I want to give it our final go, see if we have just been like low rolling this thing forever, or if it's actually pretty decent. With these, I'm not sure where I stand with Nature's Embrace. I'm pretty sure it's terrible, but I would like to give it a try one day. I guess you could land in like some kind of like surprise 3 or 4 color deck, and it makes things happen. But we'll take the Ghoul here. Okay, then the last one, we do seem to be building towards this Toughness Matters during the Siege Tower style deck. Gluttonous Geist will play fantastically there. One of the more powerful cards in the set. Oh, the Lumberknot's here. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, set up so nicely. Okay. The full build around. There was one more we were wanting out of this. The mulch. Nice. Okay. Okay. Things are happening out here today. Massive Might makes its way back to us. All right. Could not have asked for a better pack one outside of just opening some kind of big bomb card. Take the Thirst for Discovery, and you know, if we find a big blue-black card or something, we might end up wanting to play it. Yeah, pretty good start. To see a green rare, probably want to snatch that right up. Oh man, this guy seems great. 4/4s for 4. Pretty strong in this format. And then just flipping into a game winner. So he's good early and good late. I'm on board. We're passing on a Grizzly Ritual, which is unfortunate, but we have we have already picked up 1. I will most certainly play 2 in this format. But that's okay. I don't think I want to go like super all in and play things like Unhallowed Phalanx in this deck. We'll probably wheel it. But here I would, if we could wheel the Toxic Scorpion, that would be delightful. But the Phalanx, I mean, we have 1 Lumberknot and we have 1 Catapult Fodder. Just doming your opponent, just going Nautilus Atrocity to the face is, you know, it's a potential thing we could look towards. As this pack shows up and is just a real turd. I like the Socialite, but I think we're going to be too top heavy on our 4s to ever want to play it. We already have 4 4-drops. Yeah, this guy never going to make the cut in our deck. So I'm looking at either like Sporeback Wolf is just like an early game occupy the board kind of thing, or I'm looking towards this Nature's Embrace, which I don't want to play. These things sorted a little bit. Okay. But yeah, just a low roll of a green-black pack. I think we probably just have to take the 2/2 here and be pretty happy at the end of the day if we get to cut it. Second Lumberknot. I guess the Sporeback Wolf does work with the Lumberknot in terms of on our turn he would get to attack as a 4/4. All right. Let's see. The Millipede is fine here. If we assemble, like, it's good enough on its own. It can be unfortunate if you draw it early and you're like, I have to try and play like a 3/3 for 5. But if you have a couple of mulches or a couple of ways to mill, this guy really shoots up in value. There's also a Flame Blessed Bolt in this pack. I don't think we're going to be able to take it, but worth noting. A lot of these, this is the second Blood Tithe Harvester that's been rolling around out of a pack that's just been pretty terrible for us. I mean, I'm fine with playing mulches, but I think we need to look to perhaps add in a 3rd color. Here's the Courier Bat. We have one way to gain life at this point with the Gluttonous Guest. Okay, I think it's going to be better than the Bloodseeker. I do like the Bloodseeker in terms of he stalls. You make blood tokens though, right? If you gained life. Okay, we can look out for some life gain. We've got 2 cards now that take advantage of it, and he's a 1/3, so our Siege Towers will potentially do something. Boom, 7th pick Grizzly Ritual. Okay, so interesting. There is the Edgar's Awakening. This is pretty strong, but we don't have. There's two things going on with this, right? We have some mill stuff, right? We have the millipedes and the mulches, and so this has some value, but we don't have the well, I guess we do have the Grizzly Rituals to try and generate tokens. So we have 3 cards now in addition to the Gluttonous Guest. Oh my god, what is these Grizzly Rituals? Okay, this might be a deck where we end up playing like 18 land and not feeling horrible about it. I mean, we have the mulches, so it may not come down to that, but wow. I was forgetting the Grizzly Rituals generate blood tokens. So we do have some additional ways. Like if we're going to play these mulches and play this millipede, makes the raised deads much better. Is where I was trying to get at there. Okay, here's a Phalanx. Again, I don't think we're going to play it. I'd probably rather just play the safer Moldgraph Millipede, but we'll see. I mean, we got 2 Lumberknots now, right? And so if we have 1, it's just kind of like, it's probably not going to happen, but having 2 is much different. Not the card draw one, right? Nope. All right. The Dollhouse of Horrors, as we got annihilated by this in our last video. It's like, we are playing like some mill stuff, right? I'm planning on most definitely playing these mulches, and it looks like this leech. So we should have like dudes in our graveyard, but do things ever go like slow and late enough as to where that really comes together? I think I want to try it. My only like concern with our deck at this point is I really wish we had like some of the ramp dudes. Like our top end is fine, our removal is okay. We just need the early part of our curve and ideally some of the ramp guys. Okay, well, I think we're stuck with another Sporeback Wolf. Could look towards Doomed Dissenter. He's much better at like stalling, but we don't have any payoff for him other than just being able to block twice. We don't have any exploit units. I kind of like the idea of the Sporeback Wolf. It's not going to be good, but we just got to have something to do early. I'd much rather have Toxic Scorpions. Okay. Get the old Death Touch bro running around. I'll take the Thirst for Discovery out. I don't think we're going to look to play a third color here. Like, if we had the mulches and some ways to tap for mana, then we'd consider it, but I don't think that's happening. There is an Archghoul. I don't think we're going to have enough zombies for that to ever be relevant. At like 2, 3, at this point, 4 in the Phalanx. We'll just take the removal spell. Right, well, there's a second one. I don't think we need millipedes at this point. We have plenty of top end. We'll just take the Archghoul as filler, and it does mill a little bit, and so I think it's okay. I'd rather this just be like Gluttonous Guests and Catapult Fodders as our 3-drop space, but this is okay. The Gift of the Fangs, not bad, not bad. A pretty strong removal package. Looking good, looking good. Yeah, the bottom part of our curve is kind of worrisome. I could see us definitely like just having like a really awkward draw and getting curved on and losing. But I mean, our removal is great. Our late game is great. We have lots of combos with our self mill stuff. We have combos with the Lumberknot. I would feel much better about this if we just had like one more Gluttonous Guest, and then like a better like 2-drop. Just doesn't even have to be great. Just something where we aren't trying to play Sporeback Wolves. Okay, I don't think we'll play 2 Phalanxes. I mean, we could look towards some of this other stuff, but yeah, not that interested. So yeah, 17 land, 2 mulches. Skulking Killer is just going to be too expensive to play. Keep all of that. We're playing all of these. I don't think we need any more big boys. Right, yeah, I don't suspect we're going to get... if there was a card we were wanting, we would have taken it already. We were pretty set on getting early plays and such. I don't think we'll wheel anything else out of this. No, pretty good start. Might actually play this Blood Servitor. I've played this before and not been like upset about it. The blood tokens are so good in this format. I typically play it when I have access to exploit, though. We don't have any we don't incidentally have any exploit cards in this deck other than Mind Leech School, which we're probably just not going to play. But it's not unheard of to just randomly end up with a couple of the 5-drop exploit that makes your opponent sacrifice and a couple Mind Leech Schools, and then if you don't have a lot of the sacrifice package, like a bunch of Doomed Dissenters, then the Servitors, if you have to sacrifice it off and you still get a blood token out of it, it's not that bad of a deal. So, all right. Let's see what we can do here. I don't think there's anything in the sideboard we want. There's a second Phalanx. We can consider adding it. I think if things are going to the point to where we're getting like the Phalanx on the board, we're probably just not going to need 2 copies of it. So I think that's okay. I think I'm looking to take out like Massive Might. I don't think that'll ever be relevant. Our dudes should just be big enough. I don't need that cheap combat trick. Then let's just get to removing dudes. We'll take out 1 Phalanx. Not excited about playing all of the 5 4-drops, but I think they're all good enough. The Scavenger would be the one I would look to cut, but I think he's probably still good enough here. Keeping all of our 3s. What happens if we take out 7 2-drops? Where does that leave us with 12 creatures? No, we can't. We can't do that. So where do we go? Do we have to cut the Grizzly Ritual? That's probably the safe thing to do. It is fairly expensive. Now, if we cut 6 creatures, it takes us to 13. That's still a bit low. Maybe we cut out I definitely want to play the mulches, and I don't have like the stones to just play 16 land and 2 mulches in a deck that's this top heavy, but I do like the idea that if we like mulch into extra land, we can just discard them to blood tokens. So I think it's it's a slow engine, but it should be serviceable. I think I want to take out either 1 Wolf Strike or 1 Gift of the Fangs. Then we don't have enough ways to gain life. We can take out the Bloodseeker. Don't want the Mind Leech School. These units are sucky. Let's just take out the Ragged Recluse. It seems a bit unwieldy. I think I actually would rather move the Archghoul of Thraben before the Blood Servitor. And we're probably going to have to take out an expensive Bro. Can we get by without having like the Millipede or the Phalanx? I'm also just kind of considering just playing 2 Phalanxes, given that we have 3 Lumberknots and the Catapult Fodder. But that sounds like a bit of a stretch, especially if they play horribly with Dollhouse of Horrors. Let's see, maybe we just cut the Scavenger. That is a lot of 4-drops, and I do really love that unit, but I think if we're going to be doing removal spell things with the Sawblade Stinger, then it's kind of okay to go. And then here, I'm just going to get rid of Gift of the Fangs. There's not tons of targets for it. And the decks where you're like really looking to play Gift of the Fangs early tends to be the Vampires decks, to where it doesn't really target anything. Like, it's still good against a lot of the Disturbed decks, but beyond that, there's not tons of decks that you're looking to shut down early games with, and then we're never making like tempo plays with it. So I think it's okay to get rid of 1 copy. 14 creatures. Okay, I'm ready. Let's do this. All right, on to battle with the trees. Whenever I see these trees, it always reminds me of the the bit from Clerks 2 with Randall talking about why Star Wars is better than Lord of the Rings, and even the trees walked in that movie. I caught it on YouTube again the other day. It's like I'm not sure if the movie holds up in terms of acceptable acceptable comedic value, if you will. I don't know. There's like I really like watch a bunch of movies from the '80s, and a bunch of them you'll be like, there's a lot of scenes where it's like, oh, that wouldn't fly in 2021, and I feel like Clerks has quite a few of those, but it still holds up in most cases. Alrighty. We are about to run into problems. This guy has a big ramp draw on us. The Toxic Scorpion is decent in the face of a Hiveheart Shaman, since you have to attack with it to get the big value from it. But if he has like a removal spell and an attack, it really kind of sucks for us. About to run into some problems here with his ramp. Our deck just needs time, right? It's got our deck has like a handful of problems. The early game is abysmally bad. We didn't pick up like the quality early game plays we'd be looking for. We didn't pick up any of the ramp cards, right? We don't have any Reclusive Taxidermist. We don't have any Werewolves of the Ley. We don't have any of that stuff. So our early game is pretty weak. We also don't have much in terms of card advantage, right? We have a couple of mulches, which could draw some cards, but outside of the mulches, we're really either counting on Dollhouse of Horrors to generate like 3 dudes, or we're kind of counting on just like cycling with the likes of our blood tokens. All right, I'm not sure how bad this can get. I'm sure that they have like one more land that they can get, or they wouldn't have been like so aggressive in this attack. But this ultimately worries me. It's like we don't even have a play for next turn. We're playing like 100 4-drops in our deck, and we just don't even have any 4s here. So it's a little scary. Hopefully we can just make up for this with our card quality, though. Right, we're playing a bit more expensive stuff than people normally would. This is what worries me, though, right? He just can generate a unit every turn of the game. And like, what are we doing? We're gonna play my big worry with the Moldgraft Millipede, where it just doesn't do anything. If we draw a land, we can take down this Hiveheart Shaman, but it's already given him 3 cards. Like, this is I don't want to call like Hiveheart Shaman like a bomb quality of card, but this is one of kind of like the big things with this format, right? Where having these highly prized rares is a pretty big deal. It feels a lot to me like what you would typically see in a core set draft, in terms of you like draw 2s are very good, but then a lot of it comes down to just, oh, my opponent had a rare and I didn't have an answer for it. So really playing 4 colors? Nope. All right, and that's where we miss on the land. And now, I was really surprised he added Weaver of Blossoms. I guess it was so he could play the removal spell on our unit. But there we go. Let's get a. Oh, all right, at least got up to a 4/4. Good job, guy. Good job. We still got some time. He's been, why he's doing anything other than just making a 4/4 every turn is a little beyond me. There you go. Also lets him like flip this Weaver of Blossoms. I would be sitting here like, he's at no risk of losing this game whatsoever. Like, am I really going to be attacking with our 113? But, you can generate a 4/4 every turn with no pressure being applied on you. Like, why would you ever play other cards? Right. You got a dude that's not doing anything. Like we're we're out here just playing real 4/4s where his dudes are just way stronger. All right, no attacks. How far away are you? 0. Let's get this farmer off of the board before it flips. How many turns can we go without being able to play Grizzly Ritual? How many can we do? Okay. Really gonna have another removal spell, or are you just reading what the rare actually does? So he's currently up to a 4/1 with the Hive Heart Shaman. And now that would be a 5/1, right? He's got the 3 dudes on board. He got the land out of his deck, and then he took a he took our 6-mana removal spell. Like, we have nothing in our deck that can provide that level of card advantage. All right, let's see if we can't recover, though. If we just have some more time, might be okay. Have any humans? Got a couple of werewolfy things. He's considering trading this Weaver of Blossoms for a card. I'll take that trade if he wants. We're safe enough to go to 5. I'm blocking everything this turn. Can just go to 1, but that's a little on the greedy side. I think we need to trade off the Oddity, and then we can throw the Millipede somewhere else. So we're looking to take. Are we just lethal like this? There we go. Our block got undone. 6, fall to 3. Okay. Now next turn we can blood token away Edgar's Awakening. Use the black mana piece on that to put a Raise Dead into our hand, and then replay the Oddity. I guess we can just spend 5 mana and put something into play. We could have gone that direction with it, but okay. Ooh, Doom Dissenter was a big draw. Then I do want to get our 7th land on the board. That's what we need to flip the Oddity. Oh no, we can't play. You can't play the guy. Oh. Dang. I thought we were gonna have a blocker for every unit that he had. That's okay. We're about to. We can flip this Oddity soon. Yeah, I wish we had like it's not called Rootbreaker Worm, but whatever the 7 mana worm is that gains 5, or you can exile it out of your graveyard to gain another 5. Dude just does literally everything in this format. I would be pretty stoked if we had access to a little something like that. Alright, easy blocks. We go to 2. Good chance we just die to like the 4-cost guy that drains, or the Scorpion that someone takes 2 and draws 2, and a lot of ways that we just die here, and we don't have any way to gain health in our deck. So it's a little unfortunate, but no answer to that dude generating tokens. I mean, it's like the way I kind of look at things like that are like, what if you had a, like a 7/7 for 4 mana? I think we would have pretty easily beat a 7/7 for 4 mana, and that would be like an extremely good deal. But the amount of value that he got out of that thing was just absolutely insane. So we didn't quite get it. Oh, did he? Oh, he discarded a creature to boost his taxidermist. I guess it's better than dying. Oh, he just has the bramble worm. Speaking of the devil, just coming straight out of the other deck. Nice. I wish we had good cards. I wonder what that feels like. All right, well, on to the next one. On to the next one. So yeah, it's tough, as you could see. Like, opponent got to ramp up a bunch of mana. We just don't have any of that. They got to play 3 colors. We can't do it because we don't have any of the mana fixing. And it kind of is what it is. I mean, we had a really good pack 1. I felt like that went nicely, but then it was like once we kind of outlined like, okay, we've got the door and the siege tower stuff together. We've got the big removal spells. We just need to shore up our early game. And then we just never saw any throughout the entirety of pack 2 or pack 3. So, kind of is what it is. Can we keep a hand like this? Counting on the Toxic Scorpion? Let's do it. We can play all our spells with this one. It's just like mulligans are so brutal in this format as well. Like, I thought that they were pretty brutal in the previous format. And like in this one, you still at least have time to kind of like draw out of it. But if you're behind 2 cards, it just sucks so much. All right, boom 'em. Toxic Scorpion aggro. And does this thing say it can't be countered? No. It does not. How willing are we just to slam into this stuff, knowing that we have Edgar's Awakening to just bring the dude right back? Or we could Gift to the Fangs post-combat. I like it. We can play it like a little slow. So we want to do the 3-1, not a 4-0. Gift to the Fangs. We definitely wanted to make sure we didn't Gift to the Fangs the Vampire. I'm surprised we didn't fuck that up. I wasn't paying ultra close attention to that. But now we can get like the big value here and Edgar's Awakening off of a Blood Vial and taking things down that way. Do we really have to play around to Syncopate for 1? We'll keep the Scorpion. I mean, this game, it could go another 7 or 8 turns. I don't want to just be like acting like we're being super aggressive here. I'm okay with playing like the Grizzly Ritual in terms of we can do some cycle and pick up some card advantage and such, but it's a little worried about just like being way too aggressive. Creature you control, creature you don't. Toxic Scorpion and Wolf Strike. Nice little combo. That has to feel bad. He's just leaving this on the board, right? I was like, that in no way feels good to be just killing off one of our units. Achieved a victory. Go us. Man, I saw that draft token was one of the mastery rewards there. Pretty excited to come in and pick that up. Let's see if I can find it after this game. I've got a. Let's see if we can keep this. I've got an extended art door in the siege tower. I thought I'd lost it forever. I was pretty sure that I had wrecked a car and then I had left like a backpack full of magic cards in the back of the car, and then I'd just like forgotten about it. As you know, wrecking a car is kind of a traumatic event. And then you know, years went by. I thought they were gone. I moved a big chunk of my collection, and then just assumed that these things were just gone to the world. And then my mom moved to Kansas City and brought in a lot of the cards that I had just hanging out in a closet. And I found the door in the siege tower in there. It's pretty cool. You got it for top 8ing one of the states when states was a thing. And we did it. Okay, so here, I want to just, like, dig for land. I think we can safely just, like, get rid of Toxic Scorpion. It's not really doing anything here. And then kind of B is it gives us at least something to remove for Dollhouse of Horrors, should that ever come down. But it just feels like we're just playing into a counter spell here, and I'm not quite ready to do that. I think this is the worst of the units in our hand. Maybe we should have gone with the Oddity, but I think that was going to be, you know, our opponent is playing zombies, but I mean, maybe we should have played the Oddity and saved him to try and kill a zombie with. We're going to get somewhat exploited here. Oh. All right, here come the meaty attacks. Okay. Have to wait on those meaty attacks. It's a vegetarian attack what we threw in there. Not quite as meaty. It's like it's like taking some cauliflower and making cauliflower buffalo wings out of it. All right, and he is tapped out. So, I mean, we're kind of free to do whatever we want now. I think we just want to get this Phalanx on board. And then we can threaten big things next turn with the Oddity. I guess another option we would have is to start trying to get the Dollhouse going. It seems a little sketchy here. How do we feel if he gets like a double block onto our Lumberknot? I think that's fine. Excuse me, because right, we're just gonna bring him back anyways. Combos. We've got it all. Got all the thunder. Here comes the Phalanx. I wonder if we should take out that Moldgraph Millipede for another Phalanx. I don't think so. I don't think I like that idea. Like, you gotta leave some amount of blockers back. You're not that close to lethal, and yep, we've got the big damages on board. Certainly seems to have something. I assume he has some kind of answer to our Ancient Lumberknot. It's kind of curious if we can get around it with our Dollhouse of Horrors. And the way this is going, I'm not like completely opposed to bringing back the Slinger and just shooting off his blood token. That'll prevent a bit of damage next turn from this Social Light, which he may be. Kind of feels like he's probably building up to a big Lantern Bear type play where he gets a lethal with the Social Light. Alright, so yeah, I just don't feel like we can ever feel confident in our lethals this turn. I think we leave the Dissenter back. Well, that's where it gets tough, right? So let's say he doesn't have anything. He's just sitting on counter spells. We attack with everything. He blocks the Phalanx, and that forces him to make a second block, right? Because we're coming in for 9 damage, so he'd lose both of his dudes. He could just block the Doomed Dissenter with this Assistant, but then we would still have a blocker for that next turn. And then the downside here is if he has, some kind of interactivity, then we're just completely dead in that stage. So I don't think we can attack with everything. Just going to come in with these 2. And then the idea here is I want to Dollhouse the Slinger back and take down his blood token. And then that will leave us with 3 blockers. Assuming that we can get the Dollhouse down, right? I guess he can counterspell it. Oh no, we don't have the mana for this though. Fuck. Alright, well I guess it's this guy. That changes things. I was gonna say, it felt like it was just going to be a counterspell, but he's going to put Flying on the Social Light. That's only 8 damage, though. The other thing we can look to potentially do is if... Oh no, mixing my cards up as like we can play the Dollhouse of Horrors and like fight something with the Toxic Scorpion. That's not the way that works at all. Okay. Doesn't do anything. And he just can't attack with the Social Light, right? We were lethal if he does, and he's tapped out and stuff. Okay. We can Dollhouse here. But... we just dead? Fights a zombie and opponent controls. So we could have taken down, like, the Wretched Throng if that was his play. But, well, no, if the Dollhouse is important, right? Because as it stands right now, he can block our Doomed Dissenter and not die. So let's do this. We're going to add the Dollhouse. Bring back the Toxic Scorpion. Gonna put that ability on the Dissenter. Now we're bringing the squad. So, before we brought this in, he could make a block on a 4, a block on a 4, and a block on a 1. Or a block on a 13, a 4, and a 1. And then fall to 1. But now that we've added this additional 1/1, he has to block elsewhere. So I assume that he's just going to put the Social Light in front of the Gust now and let the 4/4 go down. Alright, that'll take him to 3. And now next turn, we can look to bring back another dude with the Construct. Sad that, like, if we bring back the fighter, he still can't take down a Wretched Throng. But one day at a time, I guess. We can maybe mulch into something better. might be able to. I mean, we can like double mulch with the good chance we might be able to like mulch into another siege tower or something. Oh, we already just have a siege tower in our graveyard. Is that enough? This like if we bring back the Lumberknot, he has to block the Phalanx, and then we just get him for 3. Okay, that's the way it is. We don't need to play all these cards. So wild. Like, initially just thought that this Dollhouse of Horrors was complete garbo, but this is such a wild format. It's actually pretty ridiculous here. Got him. Nice job, Dollhouse. I remember specifically saying in like multiple drafts, this card is complete garbage. Never playing it, and that was pretty far from reality. All right, GG. All right, well, I looked for the siege tower and couldn't find it. Kind of is what it is, but I assure you I have one. It is in a pile of cards behind me somewhere. Need to sell that bad boy before long. Give me them funds. All right, what do we got here? That's probably reasonable enough, right? It's four land and a mulch and a Gift of Fangs. We're going to draw like 2 land off of the mulch. Everything's going to be fine. Okay. It's a reasonable enough target for the old Gift of Fangs. Alright, we can just pass. I mean, there's no reason to just like run this mulch into a counterspell. This is the downside of the Millipede, though. We've had no turn to get it down. And it just sucks so bad to just run out. Alright, and we're about to run into a situation here. It doesn't matter so much here from the way they've tapped their mana, but just do a count real quick before you cast a spell against the blue deck, and they can, you know, syncopate for 1. I've seen like multiple times here recently where opponents would cast their spell, have it get syncopated for exacties, and then play the land after that would have let them, you know, have the life-saving syncopate. Like, don't do that. Don't be doing that. Fear of Death does absolutely nothing to the Lumberknots, FYI. I think, right? It says -5, but they deal damage equal to their toughness, and I don't think that works how our opponent wants. Right. With power greater than toughness assigns damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. And so, yeah, this visual bug, not surprised to see Wizard ever have a visual bug, but our Lumberknot is actually large and in charge. See, we did 4. Alright, now we got some big boys on board. Looking good. Why would he block the Lumberknot? Is he really gonna have a removal? Parasitic Grasp. Alright. Well, we gotta slow this down. So let's get the Cruel Witness out of here. That's where we gotta stop. Reading my card. Do you really have a removal here? Do you really have one? Chill of the Grave. Okay. Well, let's just do the mulch last. We'll add the Catapult Fodder. We'll add the Doomed Dissenter. No counters. Let's add the mulch. Up a couple of land. Do we still have token generation? No. Okay. Top one bottom. Oh, we do have. Do we have blood token generation? We got a Grizzly Ritual in our hand. I'm gonna do one. If we draw a bear, we'll want to play it. I guess under that line of thinking, we could just go ahead and do both. Let's discard the forest. So if we have to play the land for whatever reason, then we can play either way. Hey, we did it! We drew the bear. That gets us one creature away from flipping this Catapult Fodder. Yeah. Oh, it's stalling? Oh, it's because he has blood tokens. Okay. Target opponent lose life equal to the sacrifice creature's toughness. We can't lethal out of this. Most we could do would be 4. But still think we're pretty safe. Interesting he didn't cycle anything with the blood tokens, though. I wonder how we read into that. As it stands, say he just has land in hand. We can attack with everything, get in for... Well, we need to hit for 1 point of damage, right? I was going to say, he keeps highlighting our Catapult Captain like he's going to do something to it. A little worried now. He might just be like a little bit of damage too short. But he is tapped out. Interesting. He lets our creature grow. Interesting again. Wonder how he wins the game if he throws away like his spirit tokens. But 6 is like a pretty choice place to be, right? There's a ton of ways to deal like 2 damage. And so I feel so much safer being at 6 than being at 5. Like it wouldn't be unreasonable to think that they attack for 3, send us to 2, and then play like the Death Touch Scorpion or something like that. So it's gonna copy the Scab and draw a card. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Was that like our 11th win? Pretty close. Pretty close to 11. Load faster. 3. All right. Not a bad day. Not a bad day. And this is in a deck I think is a 7 winner. If we like, probably like 7 wins like 1% of the time, but I think like 4 or 5 are pretty reasonable with this. Again, like we didn't piece together all of those kind of like early game ramp tools. Just a bit unfortunate. But I mean, we got a lot of power here. If we do draw some land, we could potentially hit this monster aggressive curve of the Sporeback Wolves into Catapult Fodder into Doran. We're starting. Yeah, we're getting there. Do we play the Servitor or the Fodder? I'm just gonna go like super high roll mode and choose Fodder. If we top deck another land and get to just slam in for non-damage next turn, that's pretty big. Because I mean, we're never gonna win a card advantage game against the Welcoming Vampire. Oh, oh, squad, oh squad. They got this saying called "better lucky than good," and oh, that shit, you boomed. Now, these bros don't fight each other, right? It deals damage equal to its power to a creature you don't control. Oh, our dudes don't have any power, though. The Wolf Strike is not looking as strong as we would like it to here. But we have a second Lumberknot, which I think we're just going to surprise them with. You gonna go, oh really, guy? Really? Is that what it is, the second Lumberknot? But I mean, we're looking pretty strong either way with our flipped Catapult Captain and the Sporeback Wolves with the 4 health. So I would feel pretty reasonable in this game either way. Here's where you get them. Then do we... I think we bring the whole squad. He can block the Blood Servitor with the Welcoming Vampire, but then we're just going to kill his other 2 dudes, and then he takes 4, falls to 2, and we're looking to get a kill next turn with the Catapult Captain. I'm going to add the land here. We do have the blood token, but this gives us the mana to both Wolf Strike and Catapult Captain next turn. I guess we could technically just wait a turn, but I think this is fine. I think we might have done it, guys. Whoop! 4 wins in the bag. Nice. Got them 1,400 gems. Feels good. That reminds me, I was thinking maybe someone knows, because like I have no real intention of playing Constructed anymore. And so it's like I'm kind of considering, like, should I go and take all of my wild cards and then just immediately start buying? Uh, I would say buying the cards that we're least likely to draft, and so we can complete the set sooner, and then just start having the rares we open in packs turn into gems. It seems like shitty value. Like it seems pretty terrible. Like getting 20 gems out of a pack. I mean, it adds up after a while if we're just going to sit around and draft all the time. But it seems like a pretty horrible deal. I mean, it's another one of those things to where you're like Wizards. You could certainly pay out more gems for someone that has managed to collect the entirety of the set. And they're just like, nah, you fuckers just pouring money at us anyways. Get those ideas out of here. But I'm kind of thinking of potentially doing that. Oh, wow, we hit triple swamp and a mulch off of our mulch. I don't think I've had to discard a card in the entirety of the Innistrads. Wow. As our opponent stalls on 2 mana, they have to watch us mulch into 3 land. Oh shit, that's funny. Not for our opponent, it's pretty funny for us. Gotta run out the slinger. There is a chance they're playing black, and they may have zombies we could ping with this, but the way this game's going, I just want to be as aggressive as we can, as quickly as we can, because we're probably just going to start Grizzly Ritualing any creature that he plays. All right. Market of 5, Donnie. Got them gems back. Whoop whoop. All right. Oh, that reminds me. In the previous one, I thought I'd seen on Reddit that you weren't able to draft more than 4 copies of a Wretched Throng. I believe it's Organic Chicken. I won't use the names. I know your name shows up in the comments, but I believe you're Organic Chicken that fills me in on all the rules I'm always wrong on. And it's just apparently just a visual bug. You can draft more than 4 Wretched Throngs in your deck. So the people on Reddit, probably incorrect. The old Organic Chicken's right, like every single time, and so I'll assume that's the case here again. But we got to start. If we do some more top decking, we can blow them up with our siege tower curves. Okay. Do it this way. Well, let's just start with our attack. I'm 100% going to Gift of the Fangs this taxidermist. Two forests. Would we lose? A Gluttonous Guest and a Grizzly Ritual? Not really trying to draw any more land. not what we were going for. I do love me a mulch, though. This is one of my favorite cards of all time. Glad to see it when it's not like spectacular here, but it's certainly serviceable. Like, I don't think if you're just mulching for land, it's good enough. But if you have some, like, you know, if we had like the blood fountain and say like a say we had like a blood fountain and then the Edgar's thing we have, right? What's this? Edgar's Awakening, and then the Millipede. Like that starts to be like enough to where the mill is worth it beyond just drawing a card or two. Okay, and then not like super interested in Edgar's Awakening anything in our graveyard, but I think we're going to just do it anyways. We'll see what we draw next turn, but we need to start picking up some action, and at least the unwanted guest, whatever this thing's called, gluttonous guest, gives us another blood token and flips our catapult fodder. I could see us just start bombing Sporeback Wolves to the face. Alright, no blocks. Okay. Yeah. Oh, auto pay. Sure. Not super ideal. I'm gonna fall behind pretty quick here. I mean, we at least get 2 cycles, which is nice. But I have to worry when opponents like, oh yeah, things are safe to just play the Sigarda's summons. Usually you're gonna be like attacking with some trained dudes, and then it's like, oh, I got a couple dudes with +1/+1 counters. I can drop the summons now. But for him to take like 6 mana and just be like, here it is, that's a little scary. And I'm curious. I mean, he's playing the Nature's Embrace. I haven't had a chance to play it. I'm curious as to how I feel about it. We were really looking for some ramp. I don't want our ramp to be like tied to a creature though. That feels kind of meh. Didn't you flip last turn? Oh, it's at the beginning of combat. The fodder flips. Okay. Alright, Wolf Strike. Not nearly as good as I thought it was going to be in this deck. I didn't quite realize all of our units have like 1 attack. I wonder if we should take the Wolf Strike out and go add in that Gift of the Fangs. I mean, but we do have the Millipede. We have some 4/4s and stuff. There's some things we can do with it. Okay, this isn't as a sorcery as what I wanted to check with on the captain. Okay. So he's going to flip. The idea here, we'll attack with the wolf. I'm not sure if he wants to like cycle or if he wants to just take the 2. Kind of fine with it either way. And then the idea here is we can start like blocking with Gluttonous Guest and then just start bombing dudes to the head. Oh, wow, that was a mulch. No lands. We only lost an Uvenwald Oddity, but okay. I wonder if we can get him to like... We can't get him to play a Nightfall card. That's not just the way it works, but if we could get a kill with the Wolf Strike giving a dude a bone... Oh, it doesn't even boost toughness. The hell are we talking about? It's not going to do it. What did we lose? Blood Servitor would have been okay. Uvenwald would have been quite nice. 10 me. Now, what is this guy doing? If he just goes to end step, we do get a decent attack next turn. Like, if he just goes to end step, I think we want to Wolf Strike the Spore Crawler. If we do that, we can't. We should have maybe played a land. I don't really like it. That sucks. We're pretty effed right now. Don't see how we get out of this one. We have to attack with the wolf. No two ways around that. He may come in and just draw a card. That's fine. But I mean, I think we have to, like, we can draw Dollhouse of Horrors. Maybe have that do something. Otherwise, I'm kind of thinking it's like, well, maybe we can't even go to, like, daytime anymore. We can't get a Wolf Strike play. Alright. This should buy us some time if it's successful, but I'm not seeing us win this without our catapult tree. This Wolf Strike. Let me double check this, right? I didn't realize all of our creatures were so bad. It does work with the Toxic Scorpion. We have the Saw Blade and the Oddity being 2. And then the Millipede is 3. So we have 3 creatures that can that can potentially have more than 2 attack. We drew a land. Okay. Yeah, the early game plays in here you would normally expect the Spore Frogs and the Ramp Dudes would make the Wolf thing much stronger. I think I would do want to take the Wolf Strike out and add in the other Vampire removal enchantment. Is there anything else we consider? Like, we're talking about putting in Gift of the Fangs. Don't think I want any of these cards. I'm sad the Digraph Scavenger is not in our deck. I just don't think we can fit it. That Grizzly Ritual. I mean, maybe we just take it out for the Grizzly Ritual. 3 6-cost spells. Don't mind if I do. No. There's no aggressive decks at this stage of the draft anyways, right? Nobody's going to be out here aggroing in the 5-wind zone. everybody's playing their 3-color Dirtle deck and playing for the sick values. I'm kind of curious. Maybe we do just go and take that other Wolf Strike out before this goes too far. I think I like that. How many swamps? We have enough swamps. We're only playing 2 colors. I've convinced myself. Wolf Strike, this is no home for you. Gift of the Fangs, Wolf Strike. Okay. That feels blasphemous. But I mean, if we had like Spore Frogs and like you could potentially say flip to Night because we're playing the werewolf that taps for mana and stuff like that, then Wolf Strike by all means. But it seems like it's going to be like the times when we can Wolf Strike for more than 2 damage are going to be times that we can just play the 6 mana removal spell anyways. Outside of those turns where you're trying to play 2 cards in the same turn, right? I'm not saying that, you know, the 3 mana removal spell doesn't have its place here, but I just feel like any time outside of having that Death Touch Scorpion, anytime we're going to try and get a kill with the Wolf Strikes is probably not going to pan out. All right, what do we got? A 3 and a 4 and a 5? Sure. I'm easy to convince. We put in our second Vampire Strike. Where are you at? You're supposed to come in and just take care of these life gain cards. Oh, he goes for the aggression as opposed to gaining the life. Interesting. I always just gain the life. Like, you are rarely the aggro being the white-black deck. It could be like green-white humans or something, right? He's played 2 humans, but given the cards that he's dropped here, I'm gonna suspect that he's the white-black deck. We Got the option for this Moldgraft Millipede here. Uh-oh. Oh, this is bad. Not doing it. I'm just going to mulch it. Hit 2 creatures. Then we can Edgar's Awakening one of them back here in a bit. Then the oddity, I mean, I don't know if we'll be able to flip it, but you know, the longer this thing sits around, we do have the opportunities to try and flip this thing and give our team +1/+1. Trample and haste. not a bad collection of keywords to give our giant monsters. Artifact or zombie? These turn into zombies, no? Well, he's not going to flip into the wedding announcement until next turn. Trying to think if we want to say, is there a world where we can like bring back this the Phalanx, have the Lumberknot on board, and then flip the Oddity to get a kill? I think I want to play the Edgar's Awakening just because, like, if we draw another land, we can play both dudes next turn. So this is going to come out tapped, which kind of sucks. But his attacks don't look great. And we're starting to get this set up. I think this makes like every draw in our deck good. Right? I don't think he's really amped about getting in for 4 damage. Unless he wants to draw a card. Like he might bring some of these guys in, but... Okay. Gets us for 5. Okay. Well, that's one way to make things awkward. And he leaves it on top. Wonder if this guy's just playing mono white. Unfortunately, can't bomb him for 13. Not quite good enough here. We just dead? Yeah. Damn. Just like a touch too slow against that draw. That tempo in the early game was just a little bit too much. Damn. Oh, so ready to just do sweet stuff. Just get the flips and hit with the big trample bombs. I don't want to say that guy doesn't like to have fun, but he probably doesn't like to have fun. I don't want to stereotype him right from the start, but I'm gonna assume that he probably just doesn't like to have fun because we were doing fun shit. He was playing aggressive units. But all right, let's get this pulled up. We'll talk about it a little bit more. Okay. So yeah, I think like the draft was more interesting than the final deck here, but I think kind of like the big takeaway out of seeing like decks like this in the draft with green are you're going to land in like one of 3 places, and they're pretty different, but I think this is kind of how green works in this format. You can be in green-red, which is basically, in my opinion, just kind of like a good cards deck. That's where you're going to get your abrades and your shocks and your lacerate fleshes, and there's just a bunch of good dudes, and the late game is always good, and you still get to go out there and play the late game like the Rootbreaker Worm, whatever the 7 mana dude is, and you have the potential to maybe be like I think as strange as it sounds, it feels more like the blue-black decks of the previous format, as to where you aren't playing this like really aggressive deck, I really cannot recommend playing the aggressive version of red green. I don't think it's very good. But if you're playing this kind of like mid-rangey red green deck that is that can curve out to where you say like play a 2, a 3, a 4, and then on turn 5 you play and a braid, or you play like a 2 and a 3, and then on turn 4 you play a 3 and get a shock, or on turn 1 you get a shock onto something. Like you have these draws that can be like really curve intensive, and if your opponent stumbles a bit, then you crush them. But at the end of the day, you're not trying to be some kind of aggressive deck. I think that's deck number 1, green red. Deck number 2 is trying to do stuff with humans and green white. I don't think it's very good. But if, as you kind of see with like underdrafted archetypes in this format, if like the green white training deck is open and going late, then it can eventually be a thing. Again, I don't really like training. I think it needs like too much going right to be good. But if you open some rares and it's really open and that's where you land, fine, play green white training or green white humans, however you want to call it. But then the last one is it's kind of like green black and blue and green blue both kind of merge together. They're both doing very similar things. I think almost every time they want to be like 3 or maybe even 4 colors, and you're just basically trying to play all of the good cards in the format. And then the easy way to get to play all of the good cards in the format are the dudes that tap for any color of mana. And so there's just like a super, super heavy incentive to play like these really like dirtily decks. As you could see with a lot of these games, they go like super, super late. And there is a very real difference in playing like a Moldgraph Millipede and a rare. And what the green X deck lets you do is say you start out in green black, right? You're just drafting all these green black cards, woohoo, you've done it. And then in pack 2, you open some like ridiculous double white kind of bomb card. You can still just easily switch in and play it. At that point, you depending on what black cards you have, you might even switch into playing like green white and then just splashing like black removal spells. It's not completely absurd to think that you get into, say, pack 3, you've been drafting, green black the whole way. You open the double blue 7-cost like Hullbreaker Behemoth, or you open Toxroll, and you're just like, shit, yeah, I'm in. Like that the green werewolf that flips taps for 2 of any color of mana, and it can play all these double colored cards. And as the game like really progresses late, you can do that. And then there's something to be said as well as about playing a 5-drop on turn 4. That also can be quite powerful. And so I think those are the 3 decks. I know that was kind of ranty, but I haven't really spent a lot of time talking about these. And so if you follow along in all the videos, it's probably fairly important to hear. And so as we like circle back to talking about the green black deck, that werewolf is what I think to be kind of the most important unit in the deck. You have to get your removal spells, you have to get some card advantage, but that is the one that really like brings it all together. It's good in combat, right? It shuts down all the bears, it ramps you up a turn, and then it lets you play your bombs without playing like ridiculous mana. And so what the problem we ran into with our deck here was we started out, we got the very good mid game, the very good late game, we got the removal spells, but the things we were lacking, we didn't find any of that werewolf that taps for mana. We didn't even find the artifact that taps for any color of mana. We may have seen the artifact. I'm pretty confident we didn't see the werewolf. That was kind of a problem. Our early game sucked, but as you could see, it's not super important. If you're still in that mindset of playing Midnight Hunt, where your curve is super important, that's not where we're at. And so I would have still liked a little bit better of early game. I would have liked to have had that werewolf, and then I would have preferred to have had better card draw than mulch. Mulch is kind of like, well, things haven't shown up in the card draw spectrum, but I can pick this up, pick 11, maybe draw 2 land, and have something happen with some graveyard synergies. And so the mulches were having to function as our draw 2s. Ideally, we would have had some draw 2s here. But yeah, beyond that, we still just had, some synergies. We did get, I think we had one game where we got to do the Sporeback Wolf into the Catapult Fodder or the Gluttonous Guest, I don't remember, and then into the Ancient Lumberknot. That was a pretty sweet to get to pull that off. That was pretty big, but at the end of the day, this is still just like a board stall deck with good removal, trying to play expensive green cards in the late game. And, I think given how things didn't go right here, we were kind of gifted this Dollhouse of Horrors, maybe like fourth or fifth pick, but outside of that, our rare is certainly not a bomb. It's good, but it's not. It's not one of the big bombs of the format. And so, given that we don't have any ridiculous rares and we missed out on the werewolf, I'm pretty happy with the 5-win result. I thought that was pretty good how that landed. And so, we can scroll down, take a peek at the draft real quick. Is it still on here? Oh, it's just we got this version history because we switched around the deck a little bit, but down to the draft. Okay, and so yeah, with this pack, I thought we managed this one well, right? It comes down to whether or not you want the Grizzly Ritual or the Abrade, and I kind of liked the idea here that there's a non-zero chance that we wheel this Ancient Lumberknot out of here. Green black again. It's not one of the really highlightable archetypes in the format. If you're playing the good cards green, then you're not really super interested in this anyways. So like we can kind of like shape our draft a little bit with the idea that this Lumberknot may table, and it did, and so that worked out nicely. I could even we're kind of planning on this Lumberknot tabling, and we kind of drafted towards it. But I could definitely see an argument for taking Innocent Traveler over the Lumberknot. But we're here for the memes and stuff, and so I thought that worked out pretty good. Then here in pack 2, I think with this one you have two options. You either take the Wolf Strike, which we did here. I think most times it would be much better than it actually worked out in this draft. Or you take the Whispering Wizard. And I'm still pretty happy with the Wolf Strike, right? Just passing up on removal kind of sucks. And so I was happy to snatch that one up. As we move on, this pack was fairly weak, but we didn't end up playing the Scavenger here. I think that's going to be like a rarity. I usually end up playing at least one copy of this. It's not too hard to stack up on 4-drops in this format, and it did get kind of odd in that we picked up a 4-drop rare, and then we were trying to out the 4-drop Slinger, and so the Scavenger just got kind of like pushed by the wayside. But I would say the vast majority of the time, you're gonna be playing this unit, and it's a pretty good take here. Not missing out on too much otherwise. I was curious what happens if you just started with the Abrade because you like red, right? You start with the Abrade, and then it's like, you're probably just gonna take the Wolf Strike, right? You're gonna try and be in green-red. And then in this pack, I was looking at that because there was things like Wandering Mind. I was wondering if you ever take like Whispering Wizard and then land on Wandering Mind, but that seems kind of sus. So I wouldn't suspect that that's going to happen. In pack 3, pretty easy gift to the Fangs. Just another, I won't call it premier removal, but it is quite good. I could see an argument for taking Thirst for Discovery, but that might have even like tabled out of this one. It did. I think that was maybe like one of the mistakes we looked at here is we didn't look to splash hard enough. I don't think like blue was the greatest splash because you're usually looking to like splash removal, but we could have considered like I will come out and try to splash card draw, and Thirst for Discovery would have filled in that role. All right, then we knew we were going towards the towards the Siege Tower deck, and the Catapult Fodder was here. That's a fairly easy take nonetheless. Sporeback Wolf is fairly weak. This was it was good in our deck because we had 2 of the towers and the Catapult Fodder, but in general, you don't want the Sporeback Wolf in any of your decks. The Slinger, at the end of the day, I kind of wish we had just taken the Catapult Fodder. It was okay. I think I've just been getting like abused by this thing, and it's fine. I mean, if we look at this pack and say Catapult Fodder was the blue-white Disturb card, then we're taking the Saw Blade Slinger, but I think for this deck in particular, we should have probably just taken the Catapult Fodder. In pick 7, the only playable, well, there is the Nature's Embrace, right? I'm still not sure what I think of this. It does, hang on. It does enchant lands. Okay. As long as enchanted permanent is a land, it taps for any color of mana. I was just worried about putting this on a creature to tap for mana or having to have a creature. And so maybe Nature's Embrace would have been something for us to look towards, because we're probably not playing Mind Leech Ghoul, and it does do all of the stuff we're wanting out of that well, not all of the stuff we want the werewolf to do because it can't block and can't shut down our opponent's combats, but I think we need to seriously assess the Nature's Embrace. Okay, then the Gluttonous Geist, very good. That was strong in our deck. The Lumberknot Wield, so we know we're not like all in on on the trees, but we're almost certainly going to be playing like green black and then looking for a splash still. Thirst for Discovery in the blue, Lightning Wolf at the end. Okay, then in pack 2 we had the Oddity. I was just like thinking to myself, I would almost wish we just had Toxic Scorpion at the end of the day. I can't imagine that that's the correct thing to do, but with our like where we ended with like the double Wolf Strike deck looking for early plays, I kind of would have liked the Toxic Scorpion over the Oddity. Like if we are in a more like mid-rangey or more aggressive style deck, then the Oddity is probably pretty good. But I think at the end of the day, our deck would have really just wanted the Toxic Scorpion. Here, just a terrible pack. Take the Sporeback Wolf. I'm trying to see if we missed out on any like potential splashes when these horrible packs open up. I don't think we did, but Lumberknot is great. Millipede, it was meh. We could have maybe looked to the Imprisonment. I know I took kind of note of there being like a lot of Blood Tithe Harvesters. I don't feel like this dude's like really splashable though. Maybe we should have looked to be taking like Flame Blessed Bolt here. Because the Millipede, it served its role, but at the end of the day, we could have just played like the 113 and been reasonably happy with it. So if we took like the Bolt, we could have the Harvester here. Not that exciting. Right, then a Bloodseeker. We recognized our curve was bad and we were just trying to fill it in. Did we? I know I talked like excessively about Dig Up, but I didn't consider. Maybe I did consider taking it, or I didn't think we could play it. We probably should have played Dig Up. I don't even remember passing this. What did we have? The one Grizzly Ritual. I don't think I realized we could even play this. I think we should have played Dig Up here. Yeah, because I mean that it lets us dig for our bombs. We can dig for the removal. I know I just talked about this like a whole lot in the draft, and then I didn't even consider that we could take it. That's quite weird. I think we should have taken Dig Up here. Edgar's Awakening was fine. If we took the Dig Up, we'd probably be taking Grizzly Ritual because this is where we would get our second ritual. But the Awakening played out okay, and we just get another ritual. Rituals all over the place. And the Phalanx. Okay, and coming into pack 3, the Dollhouse was a great open. We only got to play it once, but works extremely well in our mulch deck here. That was quite good. Sporeback Wolf out of a pack of garbage, sure. Toxic Scorpion, yeah, not too much going on from this point forward. Even in this pack where the Wolf Strike was no good in our deck, but there was nothing in the pack to really take over it. Could have got a second Nature's Embrace here, but we didn't have any splashable cards. Okay, well, we certainly missed a few things in the draft, but I think that it turned out okay. And then, so it's kind of like at the end of the day, I wish we would pick that the Catapult Squad over one thing. I forget what it was. Oh, the Catapult Squad over the 4/3. And then that would have also added room for us to play the Digraph Scavenger, which also activates our Catapult Squad and our... God, this thing, it just does so much. I feel so bad not playing this. It activates, like, just literally everything. Literally everything this guy does. So insane that one card looks so inauspicious and does so much. And so I think we could have landed with the extra Catapult Squad. We would have then played the Digraph Scavenger, and then we could have had the Demonic Tutor. And I've noticed that we have kind of passed some of these. That's the last thing I'm going to kind of try and take note of for our future drafts, or looking to these Nature's Embraces if we have to. I'm not saying that this is some kind of spectacular card, but given the amount of time we're willing to play the 3 mana artifact that taps for any color of mana, playing a Nature's Embrace is probably pretty fair, right? It seems like it does a lot. I want to try this card. It seems like something that I've just really dismissed. It seems okay, but I want to try it. It's in the I want to try it section of the draft format. But nonetheless, my voice is going out. We have to claim our prize and call it a day before it's all gone. And so let's see if we can get through these packs before my voice starts cracking and stuff. Okay, Puppeteer, you are very good. Howling Moon, I'm not certain that this is good. I've talked about Howling Moon before in terms of why wasn't this in Midnight Hunt, but it seems fine. Talia's okay. I really like Dorothea. She's fine. Mirror Hall Mimic is sicko. The summons we've seen. Odric is meh. Dominating Vampire is okay. There you go. The quick voice is about to go out analysis of the cards there. Pack Leader's fine. He's good early and good late. What else do we got? Demonic Bargain. You can try it if you're willing. If you can self-mill for 13, then you go for it. And the Edgar. So yeah, that is gonna do it for us today. Hope you enjoyed our walk amongst the trees. You maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.